Hi, this is Sue from S Creations. Thank you for joining me today. For today's card, it's all about Passover. I decided to create a card that symbolizes Passover, and my inspiration was my own Seder plate. I will put all the links that I used for the stamps and for the stencils down below, so you can use that as a resource. Let's get started on this project. What I remember fondly about my grandmother's Passover dinners was the tablecloths that she would put out for everybody. She had so many different tables out there, but they all had a tablecloth just for Passover. Here I took the stencil and I am going to use the Distress Oxide antique linen. I did spray it with the pixie spray so that it wouldn't move and shift when I was blending. It's funny how with all the red wine that you have for Passover and all the food that they would pick a white tablecloth to put on the tables, but they always did. My great aunt and uncle owned a linen shop in San Francisco, so there was always some real fancy French linen, and this coloring and the color and the stencil reminds me of their fabrics that they had, their linens. They didn't just have it for tablecloths, they had it for everything. But it's kind of funny that for Passover and for holidays, for all holidays, we pick white when there's always wine and gravy and food that gets put on these. I guess those are memories that we all have of that tablecloth that has that one stain on it that's there forever. So I did blend it and put as much as I can on here without going too heavy because I didn't want it to look too yellow. And then I was able to remove it using that pixie spray is real easy. You just want to put it in water and wash it off as quickly as you can so it doesn't stay there. So every good Seder needs a good glass of wine, or at least 4 of them. So here I chose the Rubbernecker wine glass. It's not quite a goblet, I'm just using a glass because that's what I had. And this size is perfect for the A2 size card that I'm making. I did stamp it in Memento Black because I am coloring it with the Spectrum Noir pens. Here I'm using the DR3, which is the lightest red color, and then I'm going to go in with the darker DR6 and the DR4 for blending. Now I know for Passover we usually use the Manischewitz Concord grape wine, and I didn't find the colorings that I really liked for that color, so I chose just a red wine. Going in with the DR6, which is the darkest color around the edges, and then I will be blending them in with the DR4 and the DR3. For the base of the glass, I used the IG2 in the shading that the stamp already had on it, so I didn't have to create any new shading. So along the base and the stem I used the IG2. Up on the top, above the top of the glass with the wine, I used the IB1 and the IG2 together. The IB1 had more of the blue, and the IG2 has more of a gray. Between the two, it gave the shading that I was looking for this glass. Since I want to pop this glass up off the tablecloth, I did cut it out separately. I cut a circle out with a stitch circle die for the plate, and then I stamped a Star of David out of the powder blue ink from Gina K. The Star of David is from a Close to My Heart set, and I'll link that set down below. And I put it in as close to the center that I could see for the plate. For each plate, I cut out 2 circles, one in blue and one in white, and I will stamp the symbols on the white. For each symbol of the Seder plate, I chose just different random stamps, and like I said, I'll put those down below. but here is my resemblance of the lamb shank bone, just a dog bone I used. For the egg, I only had an egg shape that showed that it was cracked, and here I used the sunflower stamp from sunflower ink from Close to My Heart. Kind of, at least there you can see that it is an egg. And for the parsley, I picked a tree from Gina K's Autumn Wishes and just did the top of the tree in a green from Close to My Heart. And that gave me the closest thing I had to parsley. I don't have a lettuce stamp, so I found this pumpkin stamp from Hot Off the Press, and it had what looked like lettuce around the base of it. So I just picked just one section of it and just stamped that in green, and it reminded me the closest that I had for lettuce, and that's what I used here. It just very light touch. And there's my lettuce, or the closest thing I have. For the matzah, I used the Stampin' Up! Stamp set that had the splatter, and I used that for my matzah. I figured it was closest to matzah pieces. I didn't have a big square stamp for anything that would resemble, therefore I just chose this matzah pieces, and this just looked like it the most to me. Now to put this card together, I had cut down the tablecloth cardstock, the one I did that, I'd cut that down to 4 and 5 1/4, and then I'm adhering it to some navy that I made 1/8 of an inch bigger all the way around. I then glued each of the plates to the, I'll call them charger plates, by using the Gina K Connect glue, and I just kind of made an assembly line here, put glue on the blue, and then I also put some on the white just to make it easier for myself. Here is the parsley, and then I have the egg, and then I have the lettuce, we don't want to forget about the lamb shank, and the last one we have here is the matzah. I know traditionally there are 6 items, 6 symbols on a plate, but I'm not making a 5x7 card, I'm only making a A2 size card, so I can only do 5 of them, and then I adhered each one to the circle using just the tape roller for that, and kind of put that around the best I could on there, kind of spreading it out evenly throughout the circle. Once you have it all done, then you can adhere the Seder plate to the cardstock, to the card panel. Just make sure that your symbols are facing the correct direction, and then I took the goblet and I put some double sticky foam tape on that and raised that up a little bit from the panel. I did add some Wink of Stella along the glass of the wine to give it a little bit of sparkle, and that is my Seder card front panel. One thing I would have done probably a little bit different is made the plate, the main plate, a different color instead of white. I wanted to keep it monochromatic, but at the same time I think maybe a little bit of design on that would have been good. And then you just put it on some white cardstock and send it off to somebody for Passover. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video and that you do have a very happy Passover and you're able to spend it with family and friends this year. If you like this video, please do me a favor and subscribe and hit the notification bell. and also give it a thumbs up. Thank you.